Fred Willard, much?
I was out of town. I missed the news.
Well, no one was there, or he wouldn't have done it. What do you mean you were out of town? We were all out of town.
I'm just saying I had nothing to do with it. I'm saying I was not around a TV or a newspaper or anything. So.
I only bring it up because I want to talk about how insane it is that people are still bothering to arrest people. What
were the details of the actual case?
If you don't think if anyone's buying admission to your porno theater, they're obviously just a pre-internet person that wants to jerk off. Leave them alone. The idea. Okay, here's the thing: if there's a law, if there's a statute, if there's a bylaw regarding what we do with our penises in public, it's probably well founded in some pre-internet history, though. Like the idea behind the first person to say, "Oh, you can't jerk off in a movie theater,"
it was a leprechaun.
It was Sheriff Johnson. The idea of that was like, oh, these movie theaters are so new and the women's titties are so big on the screen. Everyone wants to just jerk off everywhere. If we don't put a cork in this, it's going to spread to the streets. That's not a risk anymore. Those are like elephant graveyards. These are the only thing that's going to happen in there is a couple people that are left that don't have laptops, just like jerking off. Who cares?
I've never been.
Leave them alone.
I've never been inside one of those establishments, but it seems to me that if I walked in there, I would see 5 or 6 guys jerking off.
I would assume, yeah.
Why are you getting so high-voiced about it, man?
Are not entitled to it, but don't get out a flashlight. What do you think you're going to find out is happening? What are you looking for? A guy writing his thesis? What are you trying to dig up in a fucking, look at the business you're engaged in. It's terrible.
Has it been proven? I mean,
I don't know anything. I'm like one of these comics. I just heard a thing in the lobby and I'm no idea what actually
What I do know is that apparently the only way it came to my attention was on Twitter and everybody coming to his rescue. Like nobody
wants to fuck with Fred Willard. He's hilarious. And also there's a victimless crime for even more than a victimless crime. He was making at least one person happy if he was doing it. We need more of that. Go pick on somebody who's doing something wrong to anybody. Anyways, what I'm probably doing is contributing to the problem because the story I didn't actually research it. I didn't but then again, if I did, all I'd be reading is a bunch of, I was acquainted with this process. There's a Chinese telephone that happens online, and now I'll be quoted as saying that Chinese people are bad at making telephones. There's a it's like the blogs, they just quote each other now. They just they're gone are the days of confirming things by talking to 3 different sources independently. There's no journalism left. There's just this just in, something is just in over there. And it can get pretty fucking nuts pretty fast. So for all I know, Fred Willard did absolutely nothing. He probably ate a piece of popcorn. And on the off chance that he was jerking off, I also am on his side.
I would say if I saw Fred Willard or me or you or anybody in this room walking into one of those theaters at 2 p.m., I would think that person's going to go jerk off. If
it was Fred Willard, I'd offer to let him come on my face.
Now we're getting somewhere.
Because he's amazing. And he's whatever. It's jerking off. It's monkeys do it. They do it with frogs' mouths. Let's not talk about it.
What's that one monkey where everyone's just fucking everybody? It's straight, it's gay, it's
the bonobo chimp, our closest genetic relative. The bonobo chimpanzee. For a long time, scientists they ignored the fact that the bonobo chimp, out of all the varieties of chimps are 99% identical to us genetically. The bonobo chimp is 99 point something. It's as close as you can get to human while staying a chimpanzee. It's our closest relative, and they do nothing but fucking jerk off. And they have incest, they have gangbangs, they have gang wars, and then they settle the gang disputes by everybody fucking each other. Sisters and brothers and moms and uncles and fucking, and if you got nothing to do, you're just jerking it. these are horrible. Like by our standards, it's like this is why the human race needs to give itself a break. Like, we didn't invent anything that makes us unseemly. We didn't invent assassination, lying, war, anything. The only thing that makes humans different from all of our primate cousins is compassion. That's the one thing that we bring to the table that's brand new. We bring the concept that we actually kind of like each other and would even sometimes take a bullet for each other. That's our thing. That's what humanity is. All this stuff that we think is like original sin and like all this stuff, like, it was invented by like squirrel creatures that came before us. They started lying to each other with their faces. The first thing that happened is things that were climbing in trees, these mammals, they developed stereoscopic color vision because it helped them, number one, jump from branch to branch. See, like, our eyes face forward, like 3D, so you can see in 3D. So you can, unlike dogs and turtles and shit, you have depth perception, so you can jump from a branch to a branch. Then the other thing is, meanwhile, color vision. Why? Fruit. So you can tell the fruit's rotten or what the good stuff is. So with all of that, then the hair starts falling away from the face, because what's happening at the same time is socially, sexually, politically, these primates, as they became, they start communicating with each other with these new pieces of equipment, these state-of-the-art eyes that can see in vivid color and just like maximum resolution. And so the hair comes away from the face, and our musculature in our faces becomes incredibly overdeveloped, so we can make all these weird faces. Way before we could talk, way before we could do any of that, we were lying to each other by like winking and like squinting and smiling. And so these little like squirrel-like creatures, even before they were monkeys, they were like starting to do that shit. Like, there's like you can leverage your fellow primate by going, hey, that guy likes you over there, not as much as she does. Oh, she says weird shit about you, but I don't agree. Like, everyone's fucking with each other because it means the difference between life and death. And they invented that shit, not us. We inherited it. We don't have to be bad people to each other. Humanity does not give itself a break.